Hey everyone, it's Hazel West, indie author and book blogger. Today I'm going to share with you my top 15 best books of 2015. Now, this is just releases of 2015. I'm going to do another video of my top favorite reads of 2015, but this one is specifically for books that came out in 2015. I remember last year I had to combine the two and make it top 10 because there just were no good books that came out in 2014. However, there were many, many good books that came out in 2015, which made it really hard to decide which ones I wanted to do at all. Some were pretty, some I knew were going to be on this one, and some were like, should it go here or should I use this one? But I think I finally weeded out my favorite ones, and I really look forward to showing them to you. Now, there are a couple here that probably should have been on this list, and would have been if I had read them in time, but I did not get to. So books like Winter and Six of Crows are not going to be on here, but they probably should be. So um, let's get started. And I'm going to do it in ascending order. So the first one I show you is going to be the 15th spot, and we're going to work our way up to the first spot of the best book of the year. So the first one is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Um, this was one book that I wasn't entirely excited to read, but a couple of my friends read it and they said, this is actually a good book. I liked it. It was a really interesting world, and I did enjoy the characters as well. Um, Admittedly, it is still a little hyped. It wasn't nearly as good as everyone was claiming it to be, but it was also very good. It was still decent, and I still enjoyed it. So in spot 15, we have Red Queen. After that, in spot 14, Illusionarium by Heather Dixon. This one is the first book she's come out with since Entwined, like 5 years ago now, or something. Um, it's a really interesting steampunk world. Very likable characters, and a really just a kind of a cool concept. Um, not as good as Entwined. That will always be my favorite of her books. But I really hope she comes out with something sooner than it took her between the two of them. So, um, spot 13 is The Creeping by Alexander Siraway. This book was a really, really cool, almost psychological, not quite psychological, but a thriller slash modern day folklore story. And it was just, it was really creepy, and I liked the open ending as to whether it was actually supposed to be supernatural or actually not supposed to be supernatural. And surprisingly likable characters as well, which I was not expecting from this book when I started it. In spot 12 is Vanishing Girls by Lauren Oliver. This is one that I didn't necessarily like the characters of particularly, but it was a really, really good psychological thriller. And when the surprise plot twist comes in, I was not expecting it. So that was really awesome. In spot 11, I actually don't have a copy of this book, but it is Legacy of Kings by Eleanor Herman. A new book in a new fantasy series that came out last fall. Um, it deals with Alexander the Great, and it was really, really good. I love historical fantasy. But this one had was a lot like Morgan Rhodes' Fallen Kingdom series, but I actually liked it better because I liked the characters better. So I really look forward to continuing that one. In spot 10, we have Mark of the Thief by Jennifer A. Nielsen. I've loved her books since The False Prince, and this is another really fun middle grade historical fantasy series set in the Roman era, which you don't get to see a lot, which I really liked, and I thought it was cool. It was a really good book. I think I still love Sage best from the False Prince series, but I really enjoyed this one, and I look forward to the next one that's coming out in spring, I think. Um, in spot 9 is Fairest by Marissa Mayer. This was I always like it when they do backstories, especially for the villains. I also liked it that she didn't make us feel sorry for Levana. At least I didn't. Because that's kind of one of the worries I had going into this. So, I really, really like this. I think she did a great job with it, and it just made her creepier in my mind. When I went, because I read this, I think, no, maybe I did read it after Cress. I can't remember. But anyway, really good prequel. Um, then in spot 8 we have Silver in the Blood by Jessica Day George. I always love her books, but this one was really cool because I think it was a really interesting take on the Dracula story that people don't usually do, and it had just a lot in Romanian folklore, and it was just the feel of it and the setting was just really neat. Plus, the cover is absolutely gorgeous. In spot 7, we have The Hollow Boy, the third book in the Lockwood & Co. trilogy by Jonathan Stroud. This one I liked better than the second one. In fact, I like it just as much as the first one, and I thought it was really good. And I love this series so much, so they're all so good. Spot 6, we have Shudder by Courtney Alameda. This was a really good paranormal, supernatural story that had surprising throwbacks to Dracula as well, but in a really cool way, and in such a different way that it's really not like Dracula at all. So I really like this, and I got to meet Courtney Alameda last year at BookCon too, so that made it even funner. In spot 5 was Undertow by Michael Buckley. I said a lot about this when I read it, but it was just simply an amazing book. Like, nothing what I was thinking of, which is why I was so happy, because I was surprised by it. But it was also very heart-wrenching. It was such an interesting book, because it really makes you think. And that's why I liked this. It was very good. In spot 4, I'm cheating with this one, is Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard, Book 1, The Sword of Summer by Rick Riordan. I read this before I put this video up, which is why I had to put it on the list, but I did not read it last year. But I had to put this one on. This was just such a fun book. I loved it. I liked it way better than the Percy Jackson series, and I did like those a lot, but I mean, this is even better. I liked it so much better than that. In spot 3 is Rook by Sharon Cameron. I love the Scarlet Pimpernel, and this was such a wonderful retelling of it. It's not one that gets retold a lot, but this was just so awesome, and this setting and the world that she created for this one was just so intriguing, and I really liked it, and I wasn't sure if I would, to be honest, but, and it's a little slow, but I really like it, and I like the characters. Okay, and then the last two, in spot 2, we have Beastly Bones by William Ritter, the second in the Jacoby series. These are probably always going to end up on here anyway, because I love Jacoby. If anyone has watched my videos or anything, you'll know how much I love Jacoby. It's like my new favorite series. So yes, definitely. Spot 2, Beastly Bones. And finally, in my opinion, best book of 2015 is A Darker Shade of Magic by Victoria E. Schwab, or V.E. Schwab, I guess is what she calls herself. This was just such a cool fantasy book, and Victoria Schwab has the most beautiful writing style ever, and the characterizations, I loved the characters, I loved the world, and it was just, I can't say enough about this. I love this book because it wasn't hyped before it came out, it was hyped after it came out because it was awesome, not because people thought it deserved to be awesome. So that is, in my opinion, the best book of 2015. So that's my top 15 books of 2015, and I hope you guys enjoy that, and I'll be back with my top favorite reads of 2015 later. So thanks. Let me know your favorite books of 2015. So bye.